All right, let's try this again. I recorded this video and I don't know if I really liked how it came out, so we're gonna try it again. But this is my Q1 of books I am going to read. This is my TBR for Q1, January, February, March. There's some interesting books here. There's some books I really never heard of until now. There's some books I've always wanted to read. And there's some books that I promised I would read and I have to get to it. So let's go ahead and get into the list. So for the first book, I'm like 38, 39% through right now, and that is Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wong. It has 651 pages. I have the page number simply just because it helps keep me kind of, this is what I'm going to read next. This is a good, idea of how I should fix this. I don't want to read back-to-back chonkers, and to me, 651 pages, that's a chonker because I don't read. If I knew this was 651 pages, I promise you I would have not chosen this book. But here we are. I've chosen Sword of Kaigen just because of that's like a book I hear a lot about. And I didn't want to start off, and this is kind of where I messed up. I didn't want to start off with like a book that everybody raves about, and Sword of Kaigen definitely people rave about, but not to the extent of like Dune or Game of Thrones or books like that, The Will of Many. But people still talk about it. I felt like it just stuck in the back of my mind. So that's why I chose Sword of Kaigen. As of right now, I really enjoy this book. To give you like an idea of what it's about really two people. It's not really about one person. It's about a boy named Mamoru, and for him, he's just trying to understand like what his family name means. And by that, I'm just trying to say that he's trying to understand like what it means to be a Masuda. That's his last name, or I could not be saying that correctly because Japanese culture does things a little differently. He's trying to understand like just the purpose of his name, as they're supposed to be seen as the Sword of Kaigen. They're supposed to be the ones to protect Kaigen. But he finds out other information that, they say that what they're trying to protect may not be on their side. And as a boy being 14, 13, I think he is, he's trying to understand, okay, if that's the case, then why are we protecting? Like, it's just that kind of moment for him, and that's kind of currently where I'm at. So I don't know if we go in the future state where he kind of makes his decision and understands it a little more. But right now he's just trying to process it all. And then also along with that story, and one thing about this book is Emma Wong did a really good job of. At first, it was kind of split up. Like, okay, you're talking about you're talking about Mamoru, and then you're talking about Misaki, who Misaki is his mother. And then now you're kind of blending that together, and I think Emma Wong did a fantastic job doing that. But like I said, it's also about his mother, who she has left her life behind, where in a world where she was able to learn, fight, and just have a little more freedom, be with a mix of people instead of kind of like everybody's the same in the structure. But then she got married off to a powerful Mitsuda, who, once again, the Sword of Kaigen. And so now she cannot do any of that. Her life is just very structured, very maintained, and she's just unable to have the will that she once had. And in fact, she has to keep quiet about that. Don't want to give anybody ideas about, possibly, being your own person or own woman, specifically in this case. So, and even the men fall under some kind of structure where they really can't be themselves. But we can talk about that maybe in a different video. But overall, right now, it's a great book. There were parts where I really felt like as though I should drop it. Not drop it as in never going to read it or never going to read it during this time. More so just, I'm just not ready for this. This shouldn't be the first book I read, especially it being 651 pages. But I think it's picked up. I'm always was picking up on the themes, and themes were cool, but there were elements of it that kind of took me out. And we can talk about that, like I said, in another video. I think when I get halfway through, I want to do a video because I don't want to do videos talking about what I'm going to read. I want to talk about make videos about what I am reading. And I don't want to wait till I finish the book to talk about it. I think there's other parts I could speak on. So maybe we'll do weekly updates. I'll figure it out, but that I definitely want to talk about. So the next book we have, book number 2, is Dune by Frank Herbert, 674 pages. So I can promise you I will not be reading that directly after Sword of Kaigen because that's a big book to me, and I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't have that capacity yet. I don't have that muscle, that built yet of being able to read back-to-back 600-page books. I know some of y'all are like, this rookie, but it is what it is. Dune is a simple story on the surface, and that's kind of just what I'm going through here, especially considering I haven't read it like I have Sword of Kaigen. Dune is about a boy who just must go to a different planet, I believe, to secure this like spice or drug or something to ensure the future of his family. That's kind of it. There's like a lot of politics and stuff involved. So I know I'm probably doing a terrible job of explaining it, but it is one of those like sci-fi political thinking books, and I want to check it out. Like people said, like before Game of Thrones, it was Star Wars. Before Star Wars, it was Doom, and that's kind of like the process. And those all kind of share like similar themes and whatnot. Sounds like it's up my alley. I have not. I actually am not someone who watched Star Wars a lot. I was more of a Lord of the Rings person and never really got into Star Wars like that. I definitely want to check it out. I keep saying every May 4th I'm going to do it, but I don't. Maybe this year will be different. But yeah, Frank Herbert, Dune, I definitely will be checking it out. It might be, considering it's another 600-page book, it might be the last book I read of the quarter. Or yeah, probably. Because I'm looking at the other books, which mentioning the other books. The third book is Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, who I also know wrote The Road. And people really enjoy The Road, so I'm hoping to like Blood Meridian. This book was actually recommended to me on my manga channel. I mentioned how I like historical fiction, and someone was like, if you want to read a book, historical fiction, Blood Meridian fits that. It takes place in the 19th century, the American South in the 19th century. And it's about a boy who just runs away and joins this like murderous gang. So sounds interesting. It sounds like it's like happens on like the Texas-Mexico border. So I feel like there's some other themes and implications that could be had there. I want to check it out and see for myself. So with people liking The Road, I feel as though Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy would be a good start. And I don't know if I mentioned, but it is 337 pages. The next book is a nonfiction book. I want to at least have one nonfiction book every time because I do want to, I feel as though even with fiction, you're learning stuff, but I do want to actively learn, if that makes any sense. Like I'm going into the book expecting to learn something. And with this nonfiction book by Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson, which is 267 pages, this book is apparently, it teaches you how to recognize the different personality traits of different people and how to interact with those personality traits. I feel as though as someone who has a job where I'm interacting with people, and then even in life when you're interacting with people, it's important to kind of understand who they are as much as you can. I know sometimes you just met someone so you don't really know, but it's important to understand who you're talking to just so you can meet them halfway. I feel like that's a common decency thing, is like I'm not going to be like I feel like that makes good conversation. I feel as though that's how you pull away from conversation, is if you're not too stubborn on your side and kind of meet them halfway and kind of see like kind of how they think and how they talk and just kind of meet them in that middle. I think that usually causes for good conversation. I don't know if that's like the direction that book is going, but knowing that information, I feel as though could help me do that. So that's why I wanted to read that book and plenty other self-help books. I hope that doesn't count as a self-help book, because self-help books are in a bad place right now, because some of them are like, you suck, do better. You suck, get more money. And I don't want it. I don't want a book like that. I want a book that really just push my mind into, I want to be more compassionate to people. I want to be like, find ways to help better me as a person. So I can be better husband to my wife and better father to my child and just a better son to my mom, like, and better friend, better brother to my brother, like all these things like that. That's the self-help I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the one that's like, okay, lock yourself in a room, shave all your facial hair, and only drink water for the rest of your life and you'll become a better. Like, I want real substance, and so I'm hoping I can get that from this. And if you have any other books that could do that, then please let me know down in the description or down in the comment section below, because I'm open to it. And that's not to say like I'm not interested in like books that teach you how to manage your money and do things like that. I obviously am, but I still want to, learn other things as well. The last book we have is one everyone should know, and that is Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I mean, it's Harry Potter and Sorcerer's Stone. That's the first Harry Potter book, I believe. It should be, because I like triple checked. Still could have got it wrong, but I triple checked. I never really liked Harry Potter. My brother really enjoyed it. That's why I didn't. That's simply just why I didn't like it. He loved it, so I was like, I'm not gonna like it. It was kind of just that simple. But I mean, I watched the movies a couple years ago. I say watched the movies. I watched like 3, 4 maybe. But then we moved like in the middle of us like watching all of them. So then I didn't really get to finish the series. Which now I'm like, oh, maybe I should go back and read the books, and then we'll go watch the movies. But yeah, it's 320 pages. Oh, actually, I didn't mention that Surrounded by Idiots was 267 pages, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. This is 320 pages, but it should be something I should be able to knock out. I just like the Harry Potter story. Now that I've kind of seen the movies a little bit, it does seem interesting. I do like that. It does get darker. It follows, as they get older, it gets more, serious. that's great storytelling. I feel like same with like Stranger Things. I know that's a bad comparison because this was first, but you get the point. So I like that, you know, adolescent where it's okay. We're not going to treat them like kids forever, and that's what it seems like. That's what they did with Harry Potter. So I know there's a lot of things being said about J.K. Rowling, but either way, Harry Potter is Harry Potter. So I definitely want to check it out. But that's it. That does it for my TBR for Q1. I hope to get 5 books out every quarter, every 3 months. My goal is 20. I just have that goal to like I said, it's not about the number itself. It's more so about finding a number that feels like I'm pushing my limit as far as being a reader. Really, I could have did 1. That would have been enough. That would have been more books that I've read in the last couple of years. But I think that doing 20, I think is a good way to really push myself. And that's really what it's all about. Just push myself as a reader, potentially as a reviewer, potentially as just a consumer of the content. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. If you watch 1 second of one video, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.